This program is proudly sponsored by Nowicki Carbone Personal Injury Lawyers.
Welcome to Conflict of Interest for another season 2009. I'm Greg Barnes and this is Peter Farris. Peter, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and you're looking forward to the forthcoming depression, are you?
Another depression. I understand you think that the economic depression is caused by global warming, is that right?
Yeah, look, I think it's not just caused by global warming, but I think it's caused by Mr Howard's neglect of global warming in Australia, and that's spread throughout the world, and that's caused the depression.
You see, he's had a transformation over summer. You work out if he's for real or not. Well,
So
just before we get started, we're going to talk about.
Do I have to do this with you all year, do I?
Yeah, we do, mate. But I've got good news for you this year.
What's that?
Sophie Black, Deputy Editor of Crikey, will be joining us as a co-host in a few weeks' time.
Fantastic.
And it'll mean we rotate the hosting arrangements. For those of you who hate me, you only get me every second week. For those of you who hate him, which would be most of you,
A lot.
you only get him every second week, and you get Sophie every second week. So that'll start in a few weeks' time. But today we're going to talk about what's been dominating news headlines around Australia and around the world, which is the economy, the flagging economy. And we'll have Daniel Liptak on the program later to talk about what's happening and what's likely to happen in both the US and Australia. But Peter, quite seriously, the Rudd government just seems to me to be all at sea on this.
Well, yes, if we talk about this government giving leadership, I don't see any leadership. I don't. They don't seem to have any ability to speak to the people and say, well, look, this is tough, this is what we're going to do, this will make it better. It's really, a lot of it's just money handouts. I mean, it seems to be.
Well, I mean, I think, for example, the stimulus package that was announced, $12 billion of that is this $950 handout. Now, in the last few weeks, been travelling a bit around Australia. In fact, I was in North Queensland on the weekend. Not one person with whom I spoke, and quite a number, thought this was a good idea. And that's been my experience. I don't know if it's been yours, but most people just think all it's going to do is go to the credit card or go to a one-off purchase, and it's gone.
Well, with relation to the earlier handout, the one in December, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A friend of mine's a senior police officer in the Northern Territory, and he said all that happened there was that the Aboriginals, as soon as it was announced, they got credit on it.
Yeah.
Right? So when it came in, all they did was pay off their debts.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but it's not really going to solve the economic
Well, it's not giving
problems.
stimulus to the economy.
Not at all.
The other thing that's interesting, in the opposition's been talking about this, Peter, and Malcolm Turnbull in particular, is the issue of debt and how much debt we can sustain. Now, we're piling up the debt. There is a strong argument to say there needs to be stimulus in the economy. But in terms of overall debt, we don't want to head back in a position we were in 20 years ago when Paul Keating described us as the banana republic.
Well, yes, and I don't understand the strategy. What is it? It can only be a short-term strategy because there's only a certain amount of money they can give away. Sooner or later, the bank account is going to be empty.
Yeah.
And what then? I think that the real model for this debt, and the thing that staggers me, is what Rush Limbaugh said the other day about Obama.
Well, you'd love Rush.
About
right up your alley.
About Hussein Obama.
You're going to find it very hard this year because last year you bagged out Obama. Now he's the president. You're going to have a tough year.
I'd like to be Rush because he makes lots of money, I think.
Yeah, well,
he said, no, I assume it's true, otherwise everyone would have been screaming, that Obama's multi-trillion-dollar giveaways and budget is going to spend more money now than has been spent by the American government in total between foundation and Obama's inauguration. Apparently, it's just seen. So the amount of debt they're going to have,
washing around in the system.
And
yeah.
I think that debt's going to affect us too. I mean,
well, it's
generations.
It's global. These things are global. You can't isolate it. One other issue is the issue of job losses and Pacific brands. I mean, my view on that is, jobs in manufacturing are always going to go to China and places like that. You're not going to be able to stop that. But what about corporate excess, Peter? Do you accept the idea that there should be some regulation of executive salaries?
Well, look, I do to a small degree, but I don't think that's got anything to do with the global crisis.
No.
What we're being told by Rudd is this is a crisis in capitalism, and it's been caused by greedy executives. That's just nonsense.
Yeah.
And
Well, Kevin's discovered, he wrote a piece in the
He's
Monthly,
discovered
which
communism.
he's discovered the term neoliberalism, which has been used by the left for years, the economic left. And, he's suddenly got onto it and he's using it everywhere now.
he did his homework. He did an essay, school essay.
Yeah,
My holiday.
over the school holidays. What a boring holiday. I mean, I don't like Tony Abbott, but I think he got it right when he called him a toxic ball.
Yeah.
Well,
he's going to have to explain himself to the people a bit better, and I think give us some leadership. I mean, I don't know where it's going. I don't know where the country's going. I don't know where he's taking us, other than overseas.
The issue, just to come back though to the issue of the US, one of the things that's staggering is Citibank, one of the largest, if not the largest financial institutions in the world, is effectively now in government hands.
Yes. Well, and I don't think this is accidental. I think what Obama wants to do is to nationalise as much of the economy as he can whilst he's got the chance.
In America.
And so I think America's going to go from...
You really think that?
Well, yes, and that's what he's doing. I mean, you look at what he's doing.
He said short term, designed to keep
we all know
liquidity in the system.
And you know what short term means for
short term for
governments?
Politicians means you never get out of it.
That's right. And I think his solution is to socialise as much as he can. And I think America's going to swing from a free enterprise economy with not that much regulation, and the blame is going to be passed onto the lack of regulation, and it's going to swing to almost a socialist economy. I know that sounds extreme, but you know what I mean.
You sound extreme?
Well, I think...
You never sound extreme.
If they own the biggest bank in the country...
I'm going to ask Dan Liptak about that, because I just
is.
find that extraordinary. They've now got, 40... I think they've got up to about 40% of the bank.
Well, I mean, if they own 40% of Westpac or National Bank here, you'd be concerned about bank nationalisation.
Yeah, you would.
I think Obama is going to do to America what Gorbachev did to Russia.
Well, Gorbachev saved Russia.
He didn't save
He saved it. He liberated
it. He didn't save the USSR. It dissolved.
Were you a fan of the USSR? Because we know you like... last year you said you like China and you like controlling people.
I'm talking about politics, and I think you might end up seeing tremendous changes in...
All right, look, actually, there is some truth in what you say about tremendous changes in the US. Whether they're good or bad is another question.
Well, look, we're having a break now, and we've got...
First break for the year, thank goodness.
A relative of yours, Daniel
He is, but
Liptak.
He's a smart relative.
Oh, comes from the smart,
He comes from the smart
side of the family, who we had last year, who was terrific.
Yeah.
So he'll be back in a minute to speak to us.
Thank you.